Hey guys, what's going on? So we got to restring a guitar today. This is Dane down here at ZIMM'S Guitars in Mesa, Arizona, and I put a lot of strings on a lot of guitars. Today it's an EVH Wolfgang Standard. So the bridge is kind of set and low right here. It should sort of be more at a nice flat angle around this neighborhood. So right now the springs are a little too tight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do one string at a time, and then I'm going to make some adjustments here. So let's start with this low E string. We'll get that first one out of the way. This tool right here, Klein Tools, just makes it really easy. Today's string choice, I'm doing Ernie Ball, regular slinky. Now if this was my guitar, I'd probably put 9-gauge strings on it, but customer wanted 10s, and that's what's currently on here. So we're going to throw 10s on it. Lots and lots of restrings coming in. Oh, there's my front door. I'll get right back with you guys. Okay, here's our A string we're putting on. Okay. So when you're putting these strings in there, make sure that you kind of stick them right directly in the center, because I've seen them where they're off to the side and they don't lay on the saddle very well. So this guitar is really in like new condition. It's probably the first time the strings have ever been changed on it. And so I don't need to get in here and do a bunch of cleaning the fretboard. Nothing like that needs done. It just needs a fresh set of strings with a little setup work. And when I say setup work, I mean we got to get that bridge nice and flat and right in the perfect spot. Okay, so right here on the headstock, we have the tuners 3 on a side. Now I'm pretty sure that when Eddie started with Music Man guitars, Ernie Ball Music Man, there's my front door again. Pretty sure that they started with 3 or 4 on this side and 2 down here. And I think they have that trademark, the 4 and 2. So when and then they went to PV, and I think with PV, is when they moved it to 3 on a side. And now this is a newer, I believe made in Indonesia, Wolfgang. And they're sticking with the 3 on a side. But the Wolfgangs have been made by 3 different companies now. Now I did see that YouTube video where Steve Vai's Guitar Tech does restrings, and he actually pulls the ball all the way up through here. I don't do it that way. I'm not sure what the benefit of that is, but you know, I'm not going to argue with Steve Vai's Guitar Tech, but he's got a perfectly good reason for doing it. So it's close to being back in tune. So what we're trying to do is make sure that this EVH Floyd is laying nice and flat. Now it's kind of back like this, too far back. we want that to be nice and level across there. So I think we're gonna have to loosen springs on the claw a little bit. Okay, so to do this, we gotta take the back plate off. You know, the old David Lee Roth, when I was a younger person, back in the early 80s, man, I'm telling you, every time Van Halen came to town, that was a major event in my life. It was so cool. And because of these EVH guitars, I mean, Eddie Van Halen had such an impact on the guitar world. And back in the day, you had a few haters. And I'm like, what do you mean? How can you say Eddie's overrated? You had a few things going on. But back in the day, once in a while, somebody would say, oh, Eddie's not that good. But now, you know, 40 years later, it's like, whatever, dude. I knew in the 80s when I saw Van Halen, there was something special about that band. All right, so we got 2 springs back here. And now that we're still talking Van Halen in 2022, and we're playing with his guitars that he helped design, it's proof that there was something really special about Eddie Van Halen. Okay, so I've loosened that just a little bit. Okay, now we can see that's getting better as far as being nice and flat. Let's get these strings. Okay, I think I can go ahead at this point and cut these strings off of here. Because sometimes, the reason I want to leave these strings on for a little bit on some Floyd Rose setups, it's because these little blocks in here, they get old and they start to squish, and guys over tighten them year after year after year, and the strings will start popping out. But this guitar is so new, that's not going to happen on this one. He's got it in standard tuning with 10 gauge strings. All right, let's take a look at that now. It's almost coming up too much, right? Yeah, so there's a very fine line between how tight to get those springs, and then you got to get back here and you got to tune this thing up. And then you got to look at where that's resting, and then you got to loosen it or tighten it a little bit. So you kind of have to go back and forth a couple of times, and you got to be patient. And that's why a lot of guys, they trade these guitars with the Floyd Roses. They trade them in. And I tell a lot of times when I get a customer that's coming in that's looking for something, his first guitar, I talk him out of doing these Floyds because it's tricky to get them going. So now it's setting up a little too high. So again, we're going to just go back and forth a couple times. And that's why I charge more money to set up a Floyd Rose, because it's just one of those things where you have to keep going back and forth, and you have to set and you have to dial these things in. So I don't recommend them for beginners. So how's she setting now? She's still setting too high. So I'm going to tighten them up again. Now possibly this guitar was set up to be a half step down. But he told me he wants it in standard tuning. And so that's where we're putting it. A lot of guys have tricks on how to do this, but I just kind of keep going over and over a couple times. Take a look there. Now we're getting there. That's looking nice and flat. String height is still kind of high. We're gonna run this bridge down. Oh, that's looking good. All right. I think we're getting very, very close to having this thing looking good. So let me just carefully stretch these babies out a little bit. Because you got to be super careful not, again, like I keep saying, you'll pull these suckers right out of there. But you want to try to re-stretch these strings out good. Okay, we'll snug these babies down. Okay, so now that I have these snug down, all my tuning needs to be down here in these fine tuners. All right, so I think at this point we're okay to flip the guitar back over and put our back plate back on. Plays a lot better. I think he's gonna like it. Let's get on to the next guitar. I got lots of restrings to do. Thank you guys for watching. Everybody have a great day. Later.